Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to the first episode of There's a Workshop for That in 2025. I'm Nati, your host, and I couldn't be more thrilled to kick off this new year with you. I hope you had a wonderful start to the year filled with excitement, new goals, and perhaps even a touch of curiosity about what's ahead. And as I was chatting with my nephew over Christmas, we noticed something fascinating. More and more job descriptions are mentioning workshop facilitation skills. It's clear that facilitation is no longer just a niche. It's becoming a vital skill for professionals across industries. So if you are a facilitator, this year is shaping up to be your year. And of course, there's a workshop for that. We'll be here every step of the way, bringing you tips, strategies, and insights from incredible experts. Now, while AI continues to dominate conversations, and we will surely have some episodes on that topic, it's crucial not to lose sight of other topics that remain equally important. One of these is DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm very, very, very happy to welcome today Vivian Acquah, who is certified DEI trainer and a true powerhouse in fostering inclusive workplaces. She combines strategy analysis with practical tools to tackle systemic barriers, and her innovative methods, like using virtual reality or specific codecs she developed, create transformational learning experiences. Her work doesn't just inspire culture change, it actively boosts employees' engagement and makes workplaces better for everyone. So I'm very happy to welcome you, Vivian. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Natty, for having me. I'm truly excited and also too excited for the new year. So happy new year as well.
Happy New Year. And we have our pink color, both you in your hair and
I see it.
we are twins, pink twins.
I see it. It's my favorite color.
So Vivian, I'm very, very, very happy to talk with you about this topic, about DEI, and you are a certified DEI trainer. But before we dive into our discussion, can you tell me a little bit more of your background and how your journey led to facilitation and also to the DEI topic?
Yeah, so thank you, Natty, for asking that question. Vivian Acquah, born and raised in Amsterdam. I have Ghanaian roots, and my career started as a financial consultant. So I've had the privilege to support companies throughout as a consultant, which created a space for me to dive in and to learn more about the different company cultures. Little did I know that I would use that later on. So I've been a consultant, also an IT consultant. And through that, I've learned so much from different cultures. But the unfortunate thing happened is that I was dealing with maternity wall bias. So I disclosed my pregnancy at a very early stage. I was 5 weeks pregnant and told my then bosses, my managers at the time. And let's say that the news wasn't well received that I was pregnant. I was I think I was the first woman who was pregnant. A very small company with 40 employees, and the majority were men. But that journey, that story, it pivoted me into propelling to what I'm doing right now. So Orlando is my son. I'm happy to say that everything went fine, but before he came on this earth, I was dealing with a lot of challenges, and also as a newborn, as a new mom, I did not know what to expect. So for me, becoming a mom propelled me into becoming a DEI advocate, but also I don't want my child to endure the harshness, the exclusion as same way as I did. And I also don't wish that upon his generation as well. So that's what made me unique. That what made me to advocate for this space. So advocating for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and doing it in a way that it's wholesome, that it's humanizing, and that's fun, even though the topics might be sometimes challenging, sometimes confronting, sometimes it can bring so many emotions up to it. But then again, we're dealing with human, and I want us to create a space where all humans can thrive.
It is something that industries are aware of I see this DEI buzzword, but what does it
Mm-hmm.
mean really?
Yeah. Yeah. So there is a lot of villainization of the three letters, the DEI. So I'm gonna make it very tangible, but also I'm gonna share a warning because I'm known to talk about food, and the only way for me to explain diversity, equity, and inclusion is through food, right? So the D, diversity, it's about settling all getting all the ingredients together to bake the best carrot cake ever. So either you have cinnamon, either you have the orange juice or the flour or the raisins or the cheesecake elements for you to make the best carrot cake. So that's the foundation. Then you go to the equity part because just putting all the ingredients on the table won't automatically create a carrot cake. At least I haven't had the Disney version of a carrot cake so it's not happening right now. So what you do is you provide people the right tools for them to thrive, right? So you don't give the orange juice or the orange something that they can use to thrive to make the taste of the carrot cake explode, right? So giving people the right tools to thrive. And for example, because a lot of people confuse equity with equality, equality is giving everybody the same tools, no matter where you're from. Equity is empowering my individual self, because I haven't disclosed yet, but I will disclose it. I'm neurodivergent. I'm dyslexic. So for me to be able to tap into the equitable practices in the workplace, that means that I have to have a conversation with my manager, with the organization about they can provide for me to be able to understand large pieces of information. So have text to speech tools ready or speech to text tools ready so that I'm able to thrive. So we have the equity part there. So empowering people that need more tools so that they can also thrive in the workplace. And then comes the inclusion. That's where the magic happens, because just putting the ingredients on the table and putting the tools on the table to create the magical carrot cake batter won't be enough, right? We need the oven. And that's where a lot of middle managers and also team members come into place. Because if you set the oven too high, we all know what will happen. And that's not the right way to serve your clients or to support your clients or to support whoever your stakeholders are, right? Nobody wants a burnt cake. Even though you scrape the top off, people can still taste that the cake is burnt. And if you set the oven temperature too low, I don't know who will have the patience to wait for you that long. So what's the right temperature? The consensus is having that conversation with each other, with your team members, to set the right temperature, to set the tone so that the middle managers and the managers and the leaders are empowered to lead, but also the team members are empowered to thrive in the workplace. So that's my way of explaining diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I don't know who's listening or where you're from, but at the moment right now, from the US perspective, there are a lot of people that are villainizing these three letters, not even realizing that DEI isn't only for uplifting those who are ethnic diverse, right? Like myself. It's also uplifting those who are differently abled, like myself, right? I have a hidden disability, but I also have a visible disability. It's also uplifting those who are part of the LGBT community. It's also uplifting those who have intersections like being a woman, being part of the LGBT group community, or being part of those who are, let's say, those who are not being advanced in the workplace, right? So I want to make sure that it's in everybody's favor to uplift and uphold inclusion. And therefore, diversity, equity, inclusion is a very important part, because right now, so many companies are walking away from DEI, not realizing that within the upcoming years, they will be dealing with a lot of lawsuits. They will be dealing with a lot of challenges that has to do with risk mitigation. And one of the things that DEI does well when you implement it well, it's about mitigating risk and creating that inclusive space for everybody to thrive.
Beautiful. Yes. And there we have a lot of challenges because we recognize more and more that we are all different. I was just talking with ADHD coach a few days ago that she explained me that this ADHD was only recognized since not that much of years, and so people will get more and more aware of this
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
people who need to be included. So, and also with AI coming up, it will
Mm-hmm.
rearrange everything. Teams will work differently. So we need to focus on what is left and what do we have to do as humans, and how we include
Mm-hmm.
also these new options in the workplace. So
Yeah.
I
And
think, yeah,
I can see a common thread that we have, Nathy, and that is creating a space where people can collaborate better, right?
Mhm.
From your perspective, but also from my perspective. I noticed that so many companies don't focus yet enough on team building and team
Yeah.
facilitation, where they can create a space where people can effectively communicate with each other, can effectively collaborate with each other, right? And that's also something that DEI can, when done effectively, though,
Mhm.
DEI can help support with that as well.
So let's talk about when done effectively, though.
Do
You
you
told
have
me,
time?
yeah, you told me something last time as we had
Hmm.
a pre-call to this podcast recording. You
Hmm.
shared with me that for you it's very important to tap into people intrinsic motivation.
Yeah, yeah,
Can
yeah.
you tell me a little more about this, because it was really, really interesting.
I mean, the topics that are related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, if you haven't lived or walked a mile in my shoes, then how will you know what you need to do or what you can do to create a space where I can thrive or other individuals can thrive, right? And to be able to tap into people, their intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is about tapping into somebody's heart, tapping into their lived experience, but also tapping into what they know so that they understand things better from their perspective and understand how they can move the needle from within instead of sending somebody for a training that they follow for 10 hours and you're still not being able to tap into their intrinsic motivation. So intrinsic motivation is creating that hook where I'm able to connect with you as a parent. I'm able to connect with you as a woman. I'm able to connect with you because you are culturally diverse. I'm able to find different hooks to connect with you. And what is a great, better way for me to find a connection with you than instead of me lecturing information that doesn't gel well or doesn't marinate well, right? When we have an understanding, when I am able to find a connection with you, you are able to move more needles and I'm
Yeah.
able to empower you, to activate you, to motivate you into becoming more inclusive, into becoming an inclusive self leader. So from that perspective, I've seen the difference. I've seen what happens when you lecture people. It doesn't gel well with so many people. And I've seen what happens when you empower, when you motivate, when you find that hook that people often need to feel inspired so that they can activate their own DEI journey.
And you, when you are running such sessions in
Mm-hmm.
companies, you are
Yeah,
using different methods, even
yeah,
virtual realities.
yeah,
And we will talk about your codex later on. But
yeah.
can you tell me more about what you're doing actively?
Well, there's one thing that I've already done here in this podcast is I've realized that many people love food.
Yeah.
And I also used to have a cooking show. So when you connect with me on LinkedIn or want to know more about the cooking program, I can definitely share it or maybe in the show notes. But I found a way that food connects with people, right? And to combine the two loves that I have or the two things that I find dear to me is to enjoy good food, good company, but also to create space where DEI is bite-sizable, is digestible, isn't an all-you-can-eat shoved in your face and then you're let alone, right? Some people will run away from an all-you-can-eat that has too many options, and some people overconsume. I want you to consume it in a bite-sized manner so that you move the needle from your angle, your space, so that you feel comfortable. And every time that you're in your comfort zone, just dibble dabble a little bit outside of your comfort zone and activate your learning zone. That's what I want. That's how I want people to consume this. And um, I make the topics fun, digestible, even though it's challenging. I want people to be able to connect that we're dealing with humans, no matter who you're working with, who you're collaborating. At the end of the day, it's somebody's mom, it's somebody's brother, it's somebody's father, it's somebody's son, it's somebody's daughter. And we need to treat each other with the utmost respect, because there is at the moment an empathy deficit in the world at the moment right now, where we are not able to connect with people, and therefore we are judging people even before knowing their background story, or even them knowing our story and how we can connect with each other.
Nice. I didn't know about the cooking show, so I will look at this.
There you
For
go.
sure.
There you go.
For sure. And you use also virtual reality. How do you use it?
Yeah, so I've came across virtual reality, where virtual reality allows people to literally to walk a mile in my shoes. So oftentimes I use this particular tool at the start of a project or at the start of a program. Why? Because I want you fully committed into this, right? And what better way is for you to experience 5 minutes, walk a mile in my shoes, and see everything that's hidden for you is made visible for you, is made tangible for you, because there is a lot happening when it comes to exclusion. A lot is invisible. A lot is not visible for other people. And a lot of people don't see it or don't experience it, right? So I want you to see what's hidden for you and to be able to understand how this particular experience, when it's done through a realistic scenario, though, I'm able to connect with your intrinsic motivation. That's one. You are also able to maybe to identify some of your unconscious biases, but also to understand that sometimes your good intentions can have a bad outcome.
Yeah.
And it's not for me to penalize you. It's for you to understand that some people don't appreciate your good intentions, or sometimes your good intentions don't come across as good intention. And we need to be able to have a courageous conversation about that without slandering or butchering somebody for making the effort to try, right? So that's one of the things that I do. And with this particular scenario, or with this experience, the virtual reality experience, I've seen the needle movement working so much better. I mean, PwC even has done research about how virtual reality is so much more effective than traditional training or e-learning training. It's not to exclude one or the other. It's more that it accelerates the learning, and it's when you use a different training methods, it's beneficial to enhance people, their learning muscles, and also enhance the inclusive leadership skills as well.
And would you tell us what kind of tools you use for these virtual reality exercises?
Yeah, so it's simply a headset, and what people then get to experience. So like I said, it's a realistic scenario, so it's not an avatar, because not everybody is a gamer. And we want to make sure that people are connecting with the experience as well. So we have different themes like neurodiversity, we have the LGBT community, we have gender equality, we have also we have so many different scenarios like microaggression, power dynamics as well, to make sure that people understand that all these different things that happen in the workplace can also happen in front of you, and you might not even know it. So it's for you to be able to better recognize that. That's ideal. So I start with a session of doing a general training. So it could be microaggression, it could be inclusive leadership. There are so many topics, and that's a conversation that I will be having with the person who's hiring me. Then we do the virtual scenario that is 5 minutes. And then on top of that is the debriefing. And that's magical, because 10 people see the same thing, but because our lived experiences are different, they will also connect with the material differently. And because everybody's debriefing, you will not only see your lens, but you're expanding all the other lenses because you're adding up everybody's experience and opening your eyes into what you can do and what you can do differently, but also see things from a different angle as well.
And I guess also understanding that I have seen that this is what I felt. And suddenly being aware that someone is seeing the things differently or feeling the things differently.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are great conversations afterwards, after these experiences.
Oh, definitely. And it's not something that, sometimes I tell my people or tell the participants, like, this particular experience, it's not a one-night stand training where you attend the training and everything is gone. It sits with people. Even after 2 years, people approach me like, your training so far, it's still impacting me and it's still helpful for the way I lead and the way that I show up, because it's made things tangible. It made things realistic about how they can lead, but also how they can show up as a team member. And I call it the empathy unlocker or amplifying empathy, because it is showing insights and experiences from a different angle for people to understand that not everything can be shared through words or through feelings. Sometimes you have to experience to understand that things is different for you as a white woman, for me as a Black woman, but also for the people that are listening, maybe the white men or people from another culture, right? All these different little nuances. You, Natty, you travel all over the world. You know how important cultural intelligence is, but it's not always something that you can explain.
No.
So why not experience that in a safe space without stepping on somebody's toes?
Yeah, I think it's magical. How much time I wished in Indonesia that I could be in their mind or in their life for one day, and that they could be in my mind or there would be sharks. There would be sharks because you try to connect with the people, and of course there are great connections, but because of the culture difference, you don't really realize how the other one is thinking. I love that. Yeah. So, and you have developed something also that is helping everyone to understand and to feel. This is your amplified DEI cards. Yeah. So I will get my cards, I think, in March soon. Because I will get them. I will get them this week, but I will not be here anymore because I'm leaving to Asia. But I can't wait to have these cards. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So after providing workshops and training for so many companies, I realized that I need to, instead of providing people the fish, I need to also teach people how they can fish themselves and how they can keep the conversations going, but also how they can strategize or how they can use these questions, these prompts for the start of the meeting, right? So these are the cards that I designed. And the cards are literally a copy of my headscarf, by the way. True. It's true. Yeah, the designer based it on my headscarf. So these are two of my favorites. This is this one, expanded. But I realized that nobody's having courageous conversations, and only when I'm there to facilitate. And I'm just like, no, this is not about how I want things to be, right? And also the necessary questions. As in, this question that I have is, how can your team become more aware of unconscious biases? Let's talk about the outcome, and let's talk about what's not said. Let's talk about the way people are interacting, but also the beautiful thing is some of the cards come with a QR code that you can scan, and they will get a general, micro video attached to that, so that they can learn instead of somebody opening up their Pandora's box and explaining things from a different narrative, right? So I want to be able that everybody has the same definition, the same understanding, and have conversation about that. But of course, I added my little savviness to that. So The cards are created in categories. So I have 3 categories: unaware, aware, and action. And it wouldn't be me if I wouldn't add something, a connection with food. So there is an intensity level. Mild is paprika, jalapeno is spicy, and hot is scotch bonnet. So some questions connected to some of these spice levels, but also categories, and some are a little bit less spicy and some are a little bit more spicy. But you can choose how you want to facilitate them. And I just want to say, play around with them. Use them in any way that you want to, because these cards are here to stay, but also they have the necessary questions that you can ask. And I designed for the English speaking people, I designed 2 different card sets. So one is for your individual journey, because I do believe that you have to start with your individual journey first. But I also understand from a team perspective, from an organizational perspective, that there also needs to be the necessary questions from an organizational perspective so that you can create your own DEI recipe for your own team.
Okay, so these cards are the starting point of conversation, and also through the QR code, these cards leverage your awareness about some situations.
Yeah, and very short and snappy. So the longest one is maybe 4.5 minutes, and that's only one video. The shortest one is 30 seconds.
Okay. And you use it as part of a workshop, or you can run an entire workshop with these cards?
I use them for both, right? There are some people that literally book a session with me because they want to do the spicy version with me. So then I'll run people through in a Miro board where some of these cards are there, and I'll run them through some sessions, right? Just like, the facilitators that are listening to this session, just like you run a Miro board, or just like you run a physical facilitation session where you are challenging people to have a conversation with each other or break out with each other with the different questions and come back with their solution. These cards are meant for people to create their own DEI solutions that are that gel well within their team, within their organization. I created these cards because I understand that there are different branches, there are different locations, different companies, but at the end of the day, everybody wants to be able to connect with other person, to effectively collaborate, to effectively communicate. That's the essence of these.
So it means that these cards are available in as a physical card decks, but we can also have the cards virtually and use them on a Miro board, right?
Yeah, but for instance, or you can use them as an icebreaker, or as how do you say, an in-between breaker, or ice warmer, or heat up the session. Yeah. Some of my clients use them as a strategizing sessions for DEI strategies when they want to set up their initiatives, talk about the necessary things that they need to set up. And some people do them for the start of their monthly meeting or the bi-monthly meeting, right? So I want you to challenge yourself how you would like to use them. At least use one card per month with your team, and write down what your answers are and reflect. Please reflect, because we don't do that enough. So reflect from time to time where you are now, what you are going to leave behind, and what are you going to do better from now on.
Nice. Thank you so much, Vivian. So I will get my cards, and I know that the facilitators, team leaders, whoever is listening to the podcast, if you want to get the cards, you have a special little bonus for the listeners, Vivian.
Yes, definitely. I mean, having that conversation with you, Nathy, and also today, I realized that I need to empower people, help them to use the card. So I'm giving away a 10% discount, and this code is valid for the whole year, just to make sure that whenever you listen to this podcast, you have access to the code for the whole 2025. And even if you if it's later and you reach out to me, I might make it available for later. But just so you know, I want to set you up for success. I want to be able for you to win, to empower yourself, for you to be able to effectively collaborate with your team, with other people as well. So why not set you up for success and give you a discount?
Thank you so much. You will get all the information in the show notes. And what would be
Mhm.
great if you're using the cards, send us some photos
Yes.
or send us
Yes.
some information how you used the cards.
Send us your recipe.
Yeah, send us the recipe. That would be great.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you very, very, very much, Vivian. I wish
Thank
you,
you as well, Natty.
what can I wish you for 2025?
I would say, given given where we stand in the world, where at the moment right now, let's say polarization is taking its toll. I want us to be able to understand other people. Just
Yeah.
have that conversation with other people. Just like we are having a conversation. When I reached out to you, you were interested and intrigued. And when we had that conversation, I could see your eyes light up for, okay, now I got you. Now we have a conversation. And I wish that upon everybody else to just have that conversation and go beyond your biases, because you never know who you might collaborate with, or you never know who you might work with. And I wish that upon all of us to effectively communicate and collaborate better with all the people that are in your circle and also outside of your circle.
No, thank you. It was really a great pleasure to meet you. And I hope this will not be the last time, because I
No, it
really
won't.
love your energy. I will tell you when I use the cards, because I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
And have a great 2025. And thank you to be my first guest in this year.
Thank you for having me. And like I said, it's a pleasure to have that conversation with you. And I'm looking forward to the many conversations that we'll have in the future.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't hesitate to contact our guest. You'll find all the information in the show notes. And hey, if you like the content of There's a Workshop for That, please give it a 5 stars on your podcast app. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, La Workshopeuse. Also, I'd love to read your comments, suggestions of guests, or any question you have. For this, use the form called Hey Natty in the show notes. And until our next episode, I wish you good health, success, and lots of happiness. Au revoir!